Hello. I just wanted to hop on. That's always what I say. I just wanted to hop on. Yeah, to share with you, as always. I'm sitting on a rock. Hope you can hear and see me. And it's morning actually. The sun should come over, like rise across that hill. That in a second, but and it's very cloudy, so we'll probably not see it, but maybe I will feel it. So yesterday I already came here and I had cacao, ceremonial cacao, and also just did that. And yeah, I'm just like setting my morning intentions here. And it's really nice. It's not far from my place, so I can hear the rooster telling me that I have to start my day and do things and accomplish all kinds of stuff. Yeah, I just wanted to share with you a bit of what happened within the last 2 weeks and a bit of my process. So a lot of stuff happened, and that's it. Thank you very much. Bye bye. No, so yeah, so it was very. I was in a very deep process, like heavy in a way because the topic was pretty heavy, but the process itself was actually very smooth, and yeah, it was interesting because somehow I have the feeling that it gets easier right now, even though the topics that I'm dealing with or that are coming up, that I'm now like consciously dealing with, are quite heavy and quite, like the big ones. So yeah, so like the topics, I will just see how it flows today, and like how much I will share or how far I will get, because there are so many things that I'm pondering about. Maybe I will just actually start at the end, because yesterday I meditated here, and like so far this has been, I shared a lot about my creative process and how I how to get into a creative process or into creative expression, and that I think is going well. But I'm getting the messages and have been getting the messages, like every time I meditate, I get the message to take it slow, to take it slow, to take it slow. And then the most important thing right now is actually to get completely in tune with my soul. So I can create from that place, right? And since I have been disconnected for such a long time from my soul, or like, like in a way, it's like, of course not. I mean, it's people. Some people say it's not possible to be disconnected from the soul, and others say it's actually, yeah, it is possible. I think it's a matter of on which, like you can talk about this topic on different levels. So I think, and it always depends on the perspective you have. But that was actually part of the process that I went through. So I had a session. I got a session from my dear friend Monica, and before and after I went into the topic myself. The topic was kind of like I had like keywords written down, and the keywords were control and like slash power, letting go slash surrender, and I want to say freedom, but that was not the topic. I have it here actually. Acceptance. Yeah, acceptance, trust, and intuition. And I think, no, that was it. And intuition. And I had the feeling that all of these topics were somehow connected. And it was really interesting because, I've been working on these topics for such a long time, especially the control or power topic, and especially within the last 2 years, especially 2 years ago, almost exactly 2 years ago, and everybody knows what that happened then, like the beginning of 2020, March 2020, and that was like the power topic or control topic was triggered pretty heavily for me and probably also for other people. Also, I would say that this topic is like one of the most important topics right now that we are dealing with as a collective right now. So control and power topic. I want to get into that, but probably not today because I think it's really seriously important. And I say this as a person that I have my roots and my ancestry, my heritage is German. So I'm from Germany. Have German roots, and I carry around that karma with me. Yay! And the country of Germany, I would say, if there's a country in the world that has like control issues, then it's definitely my country, Germany. We have written control issues all over our face, right? So, and I mean there are other countries too, but still, I mean, look at our history, and yeah, there are no more questions there. Of course, there are always questions, and questions are actually like one of the best way to. I was thinking about that this morning. Did you know, like, if you're willing to ask questions, you open up, and if when you are open, then you can receive answers, and then you can find other pathways and stuff like that. I don't know. It just came up because I was thinking about this morning. So yeah, but I was like, of course, dealing with my own personal control issues, and that was, of course, like we are dealing with this on a collective level, but of course, everybody has to do this kind of work for themselves, and of course, nobody has to do anything. Also, interesting to understand, but should, at least from my perspective, if you wanna. Sorry, there's like something on my camera. If you wanna solve this shit, then we have to deal with that. And yeah, so I have been trying to deal with that for a long time, and I had massive control issues. And when I say control issues, then like control issues can look very different from person to person. So of course, everybody thinks like a person with control issues is somebody who tries to have control over, like tries to control everything, right? So, and that of course is like definitely a person with control issues, but it can also be like kind of like the opposite, like if you have no control over your life, or you give all your power away to other people, then, and that is like an ding ding ding. You give all your power away to other people and let them control your life, right? So, or the state maybe even. Anyways, so yeah, that's what was kind of like more what I did. And of course, I was trying to solve this issue, but I did not, up until now, I didn't realize, or did not was not able to uncover why I gave my power away. Because when we go through healing phases, we have to understand that it's always, like we are making certain decisions in our lives as individuals, as humans, but also on a soul level. And we need to understand that there are always reasons why we are committing to unhealthy patterns. I have to rearrange here a little bit. Gets a bit uncomfortable. So and that is why it's very important to understand why we chose these experiences. And of course, that's like sometimes not so easy to understand. So, and that it took me a while. And now I realized, actually, and that was interesting because I already said that in the beginning, that I found out within this process that I made the decision at some point in my life to disconnect from my soul. And now you can maybe already see how all these things are connected. Maybe you cannot see it yet. It was pretty complicated, and I went through, like it was a process that went like on for a week definitely, and like I needed to integrate that and stuff. Well, that's all of that takes time to process also. How do I explain that? So I realized that I disconnected from my soul, and that I not consciously, but or maybe on a semi-conscious level, because I did this when I was a child, right? And I probably did not tell myself, oh, you know what, I will disconnect from my soul. But I made that decision because, and that was really interesting to see. For me, at that time, it was more painful to stay connected to my soul than to disconnect, which is sad, obviously, but also pretty interesting because, and makes sense, because I was in conditions and surrounded by people that, or like within conditions, let's just, I don't want to get too deep into that, but I was in a situation back then where, in order, if I would have been in contact, connected to my soul, then I would have been authentic, right? Then I would have, then it, how do I say that? Right? It's like, even now, it would have been very, very painful to hear my soul and to constantly say, no, I cannot follow on your insight. I cannot follow on what I know and feel is right to do, or is right for me to do, because then I will get hurt in the because of the conditions I live in right now. And if when I say hurt or pain, it does not have necessarily, like, these things don't have to be necessarily like physical pain or something, but for me it was a matter of connection. And well, that was like one revelation that was pretty big. So because if you decide that you don't want to be connected to your soul, and now it was just 11:11, then of course you cannot really be in tune with your intuition, right? Because you are not connected to it, and you consciously decide all the time again to not be connected. And or not consciously, but unconsciously, but you're doing it again and again and again. And then you cannot trust yourself. And you cannot really, or it's harder for you to act on your intuition. And then, but if you cannot trust yourself, then you have to find other ways of making decisions. It's like for me, it was very hard to make decisions. It was a disaster. I mean, it got very much better, right, in the last years since I started on my spiritual journey. But I mean, probably started right when I was born, but or maybe even before that. But like consciously. But where did I leave off? Oh no, I have a. Where did I leave off? Damn it! Tell me. I don't know. I will cut this. I'm back. So yeah, it was very hard for me to make decisions, and so I needed, because I couldn't. It was so hard for me to make decisions because I was not connected to my soul and couldn't hear my intuition, or if I heard it, I didn't trust it. I wasn't able to trust it. I needed other people to tell me what to do, and that is how you give your power away. So I was looking for outside validation, and I let, like, kind of like, I was so often so confused and so torn between like what I felt was the right thing for me to do. But since I'm also like someone who is not, like what I feel, like what my soul wants to do is not very much in tune with what like the societal standard is telling you that you should do. Maybe that's actually, I think for some people it's actually easier, like their soul is like more in tune with the societal rules or whatever, but I am definitely not. So that was like very hard for me, like, because the messages I was getting from outside for a long time, or a lot of those messages, were like very contradictory to what my soul was actually, or my soul actually wanted to do, and therefore me. And yeah, and so I doubted that a lot. I doubted myself a lot, and was like, am I doing the right thing? And I could go tell you like in detail about things that threw me off track. Like, oh my goodness, I gave my power away so much. Oh my God. And like, it has been getting better within the last years since I like started my conscious spiritual journey. But yeah, it has been getting better and better and better. But this was like, I really needed to see this, like, and I was not able to see to what kind of the root of this issue, and that it actually all was connected. And so I worked on these topics one by one, but I wasn't able to really solve them because I had to find out the root of this, and the root was like the deepest thing was, or the like the first decision I made, the first decision that led to all of the other crazy decisions that I made, and the first decision was to disconnect from my soul, and that led to, like, that was like a spiral, that led to all the other decisions, to give my power away, to not trust myself, to to let myself be controlled by others. Also, it was interesting because there was like another. It's really crazy. There was like another. So I want to maybe talk about first also share something about, like what I said about now the sun comes up. I think I can feel it, but not I can't see it. Because like about the conditions that what I was already referring to, like I kind of like sat there, or it was lying awake actually at night, and was lying there in the dark and going through these things, like the next round of this process. And I realized that, like, because there was like a person that is so dear to me, and I was like seeing this person in my inner eye, third eye, inner eye, all these eyes. So I was seeing this person on my inner eye, and it was really, really painful to see them. Not because I want like they're ugly or something, but like because it caused me pain within this process. And then I realized that what I really wanted from this person was their acceptance and their validation, and their there's a word that is missing. Maybe I wrote it down somewhere. That would be awesome. Let's just see. No, I don't think so. Yeah, no, I wanted like kind of like their validation. Yes, you're doing good. I like what you're doing. I wanted their support and all that, but they were not giving that to me, and I realized that they are not able to see me. They don't see me at all. They do not see. They cannot see the person that I am. And then I realized that and I've been will give you a funny little example, but that was actually the example that came to me, that I thought like when they look at me, they see a dog. And probably not like a real dog, but like they think that I am a dog, but I'm not a dog, I'm a cat. But they think that I'm a dog. And so they're always angry with me because I'm not acting like a real dog. I cannot act like a real dog because I'm a cat. So I can only pretend or try to be as good as a dog as a cat can be. And of course, like that will always be disappointing. They were always like these people, not only one person, but it was more people, were always disappointed with me. Not necessarily negative, like the people that I'm talking about, they love me, but yeah, they're also disappointed because they actually don't really see me. We don't want to open up the whole what is love discussion here right now, because that's also pretty, I think, a pretty it has layers, that discussion, like, is this really love and blah blah blah. But so I want to stay not get into that right now. But yeah, on one level they do definitely love me, and I love them, but they are not able to see me, and therefore always like criticizing what I'm doing because I'm not doing it right. And that is like really also like a weird twist, and like it's so crazy what we are. Humans are crazy, like, for real. We have like the weirdest ideas of how to get ourselves out of scenarios, or like out of scenarios. Of course, we are just going deeper and deeper into the scenarios usually. Anyway, so I was somehow connected to guilt, because feeling guilty and ashamed in this kind of scenario made sure that I got at least some kind of validation and acceptance, because showing them, yeah, I know I'm not a really good dog. I'm not now trying to be a dog, because like that is also on me. I try to be a dog. I'm not a dog. I mean, obviously, I'm not a dog. Talking dog. But oh, there are little swallows. Hello, they're so cute. But I, like they were not able to see me because I did not Actually was not really able to see myself, but also I didn't really show myself because I was also pretending to be a dog, or at least trying to pretend that I'm a dog, which I'm not. And yeah, and like, but like, because I was so very unsuccessful as a dog, I was really not good at that. I, like, I compromised myself and tried to show, yeah, I know I'm not really good at that, but I'm really trying. And then the people were like, okay, at least she's trying. So yeah, it gave me a tap on the back. And so that was why I was connected, or yeah, like I had a emotional connection, or like I was getting something out of feeling guilty and ashamed. Isn't that crazy AF? I mean, goodness. So, but yeah, I think it's really important to share these things because, like, this is like how we build our crazy identities, and like how the ego actually creates its own matrix. And yeah, it's in this kind of sense also like its own prison. And it's like really like you have to connect all the dots together. You have to find all the dots, and you especially have to find the initial dot, like the first dot, the first decision you made. Yeah, so I will make a little break and then get into the last bit of this. So, caught my breath here a bit. So the last thing, or maybe, I mean, like this whole process was, so you can really talk about this all much more in detail and much more in depth, but not right now, because then I would really need my notes and have to follow it step by step. But it's really interesting, right? And then I realized, because I asked myself or my soul, why did I let other people control me? Because, like the whole process started because I was in a situation here that was really, like in my life right now, here, that was really pissing me off. I was angry, really seriously angry, and and I cannot even tell you how many nights I was lying awake, not only because of this issue, but within the last years and years, and like just holding grudges and was not able to shut it. And of course, this was only hurting myself, right? I mean, like if you're nobody else, especially if you don't share why you're annoyed or that you are annoyed, and I did not do that most of the time, then yeah, you're just dragging this around with you, and you are the one who is like, that's funny, now I get this quote. So I'm reading this amazing book right now. I will talk about this another time, but it's from Lars Muhl, Lars, new word Muhl. Amazing book, one of the best books I read. The Seer. And there's this quote. This quote goes, those who try to control others always end up losing control over themselves. And that is like a key sentence for all of us as a collective, obviously, but also for myself, because yeah, I was not under control. Like the reason why I couldn't let it go, or why I was so angry, was because I thought the situation I was thrown in was unjust, which I still think actually it's unjust. It's not okay, like there was somebody, I think, doing something not because they wanted to purposefully hurt me or something, but like I think they did something shitty and they don't want to acknowledge that. So I'm pissed, and that's okay, like that's fine, I think. But lying awake and being angry all the time is obviously not helpful. And so yeah, and the reason I found out why I couldn't let it go was because I was trying to change them. I wanted them to change, and I couldn't accept that I don't have the power to do that. Because, like that, it's on them, it's upon them to change. I can only, in certain scenarios, we have to accept the situation as it is. We have to accept it. That does not mean that we have to be fine with it. As I said, I still think the situation is not, it's not just. And I'm still, like a bit pissed about it. But I also like don't have to be angry all the time anymore. Thank God. It's so exhausting to be angry all the time. Goodness. So like that was one of the things that I realized. So that I was actually trying to make them change, and couldn't accept that I didn't have the power over that. But I also asked myself, why am I choosing situations like that where other people have control over me? And like also what I was referring to before. Why do I give my power away to other people? Why do I let other people choose to control me, to tell me what to do, what is wrong and what is right? And because that was like also like if we got deeper into the twist. But so I asked myself that, and then I realized that was so crazy, because I remembered that I wrote down an intention, and this intention, I will read it to you. The intention was actually 3 intentions: to be in tune with my intuition, to trust myself, to be able to trust myself, and I want to be able to surrender to my own divinity. And well, I mean, that I love that intention. Like it's probably the best intention you can ever set. I love that. But so that's what I wanted to do. But then I realized, because I decided to not be connected to my soul, I couldn't do that. If you're not connected to your soul, then you cannot surrender to it. Right? Makes sense. So, but my soul, or I myself, wanted to experience surrender. I wanted to experience letting go. So the closest I could get was to choose situations and people where I had to surrender to. Isn't that effed up? Oh my goodness. I think it's pretty amazing, pretty funny, and also like crazy. Goodness. But yeah, so, and that was like such an interesting, and also, I mean, that is still, I think all of these realizations, all of these insights are in and of itself pretty amazing, right? And like really you could, about all of, like every single one of them, you could make a whole, only like a solo video. Sorry, my language is leaving me. No, it's not. It's coming back. It's coming right back. So yeah, I wanted to experience surrender. And I realized, wow, all these situations I got myself in, all these people where I was so angry about, that was just like me trying on a subconscious level to learn how to surrender, how to let go. I wasn't able to do that yet, so just FYI. So, but yeah, then I realized that maybe it was also good, because like sometimes a lot of these situations, maybe I would have hurt myself even more. But the other thing was, I was in resistance all the time. I was in a state of resistance, and that is like so painful. It's so painful to be in a state of resistance, and I guess it's probably much better to let go and to surrender. But I also think that it's probably the best to surrender to your own soul, or your own divinity, and not to another person's agenda or something like that, if it's possible. But I also even was like thinking about, like when I was thinking about that, I had this, like of all, because, sorry, because, let me just check something. Good. I just wanted to check if my iPhone storage was full already, but I think we're good, and I can talk a little bit longer. So yeah, because the word that came into my mind when I was thinking about these scenarios was like being submissive. And that, of course, this word is like, for me, is like very much connected, like, or there's a connotation to the more like sexual world, to that, or like the sexual world. You probably know what I mean. So like being, like with the, I don't know the name of that right now. Why does that not come to me? Anyways, you probably know. Like, I mean, the people that are into I don't know how to call that. I'm sorry. I might be a bit prude in that area, but I cannot think of words for that. But like people who are into like exploring sexuality in being dominant or submissive. I think that's a word in English. I'm not really sure actually, but so and I was like thinking about maybe that is actually the reason why, like why would you to that you can be why why the reason why somebody might want to experience that or like do that might be in order to experience surrender, to experience how to to find out how that feels. Anyway, so like that's also something to think about. So like a lot of stuff, and I mean you could even think about that topic even more, get more into it, but I think I know not enough about that in order to speak about that in an honorable way. So yeah, but very interesting topic, I think, and also what I experienced, because if you really or what I realized, I think I realized, because like I'm a lot of this work I do with, sometimes I see myself in other timelines, in other, can say past lives or Akashic records, but it does not really matter because it's, to me it doesn't really matter what it is, but it's helpful because it helps you to see yourself from a different perspective, from a more objective kind of way, because you're like you're looking at yourself in a different lifetime, and that makes it easier to take a step back. So it's very, very helpful to do that. And so what I felt like with what comes with complete surrender is life force energy will flash through you. So, and that is of course pretty amazing. And I had the feeling that this was like somehow connected to it. And of course, if you surrender to your soul, then this is like the best kind of like the life force energy you really want to be flushed with, and stuff like that. There was like something else I wanted to say with that, but I think I forgot. But so I think this was like a wonderful process and so important, and I'm still like integrating that and processing that. It was like about a week ago, and like the last 5 days or something I've been just processing and dealing with other stuff. I might share another time, but I'm more like connected to the outer world. And it was so interesting because I think this is so much connected to creativity, right? And to the also the reason why I wasn't able to be in the creative flow, because in order to be in the creative flow, you have to be connected to your soul. You have to hear the calling of your soul. And you have to trust it. And I was not really able to do that. So it all makes so much sense, at least to me. I don't know what you think. Maybe you think like, what is this crazy woman talking about? But to me it makes a lot of sense now. And then I was talking to a friend of mine, a very old friend of mine, and she is going kind of like through a similar process right now. And I was sharing with her, I was driving to the spring to get fresh water, and then I was taking the time and recording a message for her, and that was like a week ago, and I was still like in this process and realizing all these things, and I was sharing with her this part about surrendering and letting go, and surrendering and trusting what comes in and what wants to come in. I don't want to share her story, that's why I'm like hesitating. But I was sharing. It was really nice to listen to her message and to talk to her, and we had like a very, very nice conversation. And then I got back into the car and was starting to drive, and I had my playlist on shuffle, and this song was coming up. It's called, I have a few quotes here. Simple song, #3. I don't know what it's supposed to be, by David Lang, and it's from the movie. It's sound from the soundtrack of Youth. I did not watch this movie yet, but I probably will, because it looks like it could be a very good movie. And it's such an amazing song. Goodness, oh my God! I mean, it's really, seriously, listen to that song. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Just opening my heart. And if there's one song I could let go to, that's probably this song. And it starts, like I was listening to the words and I was like, wow, this is like such a match to the situation right now. And I just will. Yeah, it starts with the words, I feel complete, I lose all control, I lose all control. Actually, it could actually be even a song about intercourse. But it could also be about like dying, and also about like real, just like letting go, like to give yourself to your own soul, to give yourself to God, to give yourself to spirit, to give yourself to your own divinity. And yeah, I know everything. I lose all control. And the lyrics are a little bit longer, but I just noted down the most important lines for me. And yeah, it was just so beautiful. I wish I could play it now, but I think that's not allowed. Maybe I will try to make one of those reels. Didn't do that yet. So maybe I will try to figure that out. Maybe they have the song and then I will show you guys, because it's absolutely breathtakingly beautiful. So yeah, that was like me sharing this story, what was going on within the last weeks. And now I think like the most important thing right now is to really, since I now made the decision, of course, to connect to my soul, because all these realizations wouldn't be very helpful if I would still go with the decisions I made back then. But I, of course, changed my decision. I want to connect to my soul, and I think that is the most important thing to do right now. I think that, and I think also that I'm actually in the perfect place to do that, surrounded by nature, no bullshit going on here, or almost no bullshit, and yeah, I can just immerse myself, give myself to nature, and give myself to my soul, and strengthen that connection, and getting back in tune, and start creating from that place. I mean, I already created from that place, but like really get into a flow and really strengthen that connection. And yeah, I'm a bit like, ooh, how do I do that? What is the plan? What is the and now I just got a notification with trust. um, so how do I do that and all that? And give me a structure, please. But I think that's also part of the game, right? To find that out and to figure that out for myself. All right, long video, I guess, and hopefully it will be helpful for some of you. I really love to share these, like these personal experiences, and how, because it's so important to understand how we can get to these conclusions, and because like hopefully it will work as a positive trigger for some of you, in order to solve your own issues. But of course, in order to do that, you will have to also get into this process, like into meditation, or a session, or past life regression, or whatever. I mean, there are tons of stuff you can do, like does not really matter what. Just go for what calls out for you, right? Like, or is calling out, however you're going to. The sentence would be right. I don't know right now. I think I'm done now. And we'll go and have breakfast and just show you the mountain. I don't know if you can see the sun. I also don't think this has a zoom option, but I think it's so beautiful, right? Ooh, look what now happened. I love it. Yeah, interesting weather today. Yeah, and I will keep you updated and probably go and cut this video now. Bye bye. Have a wonderful day.